Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to continue our conversation on solving by substitution. However, we're going to take it a step further in the fact that now if you look at our equations, this time we don't have one that's solved for one of our variables. So that's going to be our first step, is we have to get one of our variables by itself. Now, fortunately for these, I tried to keep it pretty basic for you. And then in the terms of, look at this right here, that y. Wouldn't that y be relatively easy to get by itself? We've already worked on rearranging equations. So really, wouldn't I just have to subtract that 2x to the other side? Just like that. So, in subtracting that 2x, now I have one of my variables by itself. Okay? And now I'm ready to do exactly what I did yesterday. So after rearranging the equation, I just cross it off just so I can tell which two equations I'm working with, because you don't need all three anymore. You only need these two. And now I take the exact steps that I did yesterday. So I'm going to highlight the piece that equals that variable, okay? Put a box around the other side, the part that equals that variable. Now we're going to do just like we did yesterday. I'm going to take that and I'm going to rewrite my other equation. So instead of using y, I'm going to be using what y equals. And y equals that negative 2x plus 1. All right, and again, now it's just like what we were doing yesterday. So I'm going to distribute that 2 to both terms. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have written a plus so quickly, because that is going to be a minus 4x plus 2. X minus 4x is a negative 3x. Subtract the 2 off from both sides. And divide by negative 3. And I get my solution of x equals negative 2. Now, I should have exactly used the word solution there, because this isn't the entire solution, is it? Remember, for all of these in this chapter, we're talking about two solutions, okay? We need an x and we need a y. So remember, I take that, I plug it back into my box, okay? Because by plugging it in there, because now that I know that x is negative 2, now that'll give me y. So I get 4 plus 1, which is 5. So my solution, again, you always want to write your solution as a point. Your solution is negative 2, 5. All right. So looking at this next one, again, we need one of these to be solved for one of our variables, okay? And so again, I'm going to take a look at this and say, well, that y right there, that would be relatively easy to get by itself, wouldn't it? All I have to do is add that 2x over. So I'm going to add the 2x over, and I still have that negative 2 on the other side. And now I have exactly what I need. I have my y by itself, so now I no longer need that equation. So I'm just going to cross it off to make sure I don't confuse myself with having too many equations. We only need these ones now. And now again, it's exactly the same steps as what we did in the previous lesson. I'm going to put a box around, I'm going to highlight the piece that I'm going to be substituting, the piece that equals that lone variable, and now that is what I'm going to be plugging in. I'm going to rewrite my second equation using that 2x minus 2. All right, now the little thing to be careful about here is notice that subtraction sign right there. So because we are subtracting right here, don't forget that really still means you have to distribute that negative. All right, so don't miss that because that is going to be a key thing. Make sure you know that you're subtracting that whole thing. So distributing that negative, we'll get a minus 2x and a positive 4. A negative 1, oh, not 4, positive 2, because a negative 1 times a negative 2 is 2. Negative times a negative gives you a positive. So I'm going to combine my like terms. 3x minus 2x is just 1x. Subtract 2 from both sides, and you got x is negative 1. And again, not the end of the story here, though. We have to take that negative 1, put it back up in our box there, because when we plug in negative 1, now that we know that that is x, now that gives us our y value. So with that y, now we have our complete solution, our full answer. All right, so that is going to be all, just to show you what to do when you have to solve one of your equations first. So please make sure you have all this written down, and then please come and check with me if you have any questions before you start your practice work.